Learn yourself.
Radio UTD.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Behind the Screens, your favorite esports and gaming talk show here at Radio UTD. My name is Hector.
I'm Hitarth.
And I'm Adi. And now we have the next onset of the next generation of games upon us. Or consoles, more like it, because that's what everybody's looking at, right?
It sounded like a trailer. And now.
And now, here we are. This
2020.
winter. I was gonna say this summer because all of those always start with this summer. But now it's looking more like this winter, and the consoles are definitely selling, that's for sure.
This Christmas Day.
No one's finding a console because they're all sold out.
I'm not surprised that they're all sold out as a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think in general, so the Xbox came out slightly before the PS5. PS5 coming out yesterday though, and Audi actually managed to pick one up, so I think we're going to talk a little bit about the PS5 today, more specifically rather than the Xbox.
Yeah.
Kind of go over some things that we touched bases on previous shows, such as the capability of it and now what it really feels like, especially the controller. I think that was one thing that was kind of hard to gauge previous to owning it, but now that you kind of have more of a feel for those controllers, what's your overall take? Or you could start from the top, however you want to do it.
Okay, so I guess I'll start from the top by saying I am absurdly lucky that we have a PS5 at all, because my sister is insane and she decided to stay up till 3 a.m. trying to get one, and she somehow managed to get one. That being said, even though I did get it yesterday, I actually have not had like too much time to sit down with the console because, you know, school is still going. I've been busy, but we picked it up. We picked up the PS5 disc version, which is $500 retail. And then with that, we also picked up Spider-Man Miles Morales because, of course, I did. And then my sister picked up Demon Souls, which I was surprised to hear that she wanted to pick up Demon Souls, but she has not gotten to try that yet. I've gotten to dig a little bit into Miles Morales, and, you know, I'm mainly going to be using that as like the base of like my experience with the PS5 because it's all I have. And definitely starting is like it's displayed like in front of the box on the PS5 is that it supports 4K, and more surprisingly I think it supports up to 8K, so they're trying to future-proof this thing.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
8K is I guess I could just say lightly is the future, but I think in general these consoles future-proofing is like the same as phones implementing 5G, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna happen inevitably, and they just they assume that it's gonna happen within its lifespan, so they don't want to release a console that's gonna become outdated within 3 years when they want the lifespan to be like 7.
Kind of like the PS4 had the PS4 Pro and the Xbox had the Xbox, or whatever the heck it's called, because they give up at this point.
Yeah, essentially. But I guess going off of that, the PS5 coming out, you getting that, and then also like when the Switch came out, you got that. What would you think now, essentially not pre-ordering, but getting both consoles day one? Do you regret it? Do you think it's a good idea?
Okay, so here's the way that I look at both of those launches, right? Is I know when it came to the Nintendo Switch, again, I happen to get both of these consoles purely by luck on release day. I never had any intentions about pre-ordering them. I was like, maybe I'll get them down the line when they have like more games, but I knew that I was going to get them at some point. you know. And when it comes to a new console launching, not that, you know, I've been actively paying attention to it for like a long time. Not many consoles have been released by the time I've been like actively playing games.
Yeah.
It's always, what are the launch titles? Like, are the launch titles really so good that I need to go out of my way and, you know, can I justify this purchase more or less?
Yeah.
In the case of the Switch, even though I was a Wii U owner, Breath of the Wild came out. But the only reason I did go ahead and lean into picking up a Switch was, one, the opportunity was available, and two, with the first trailer that the Nintendo Switch had, they'd essentially soft confirmed a lot of games like Mario Odyssey. They had the new Mario Kart and the Splatoon. So I knew that there was going to be like a lot of good stuff going forward that was going to be coming out on that console, right?
Yeah.
So I felt like I could safely pick it up, and then not be disappointed. You know, like,
You could justify the purchase.
yeah, I could justify the purchase. For the PlayStation one, it was a little bit harder for me because I'm not like a hardcore PlayStation fan. Like, the reason I picked up a PS3 was I bought it like a decent way into the PS4's life cycle, and I just wanted to like play like some JRPGs, and they were like dirt cheap. I think I got mine for like $50-$60. And you know, I was able to play like a bunch of JRPGs. So when I was eyeing like the next generation, I was just like, well, can I justify this? And you know, a lot of justification was made when I found out that the PS5 and like the PS4 was backwards compatible with the entire PS4 library, barring like 10 games. And so that made it really easy to be like, okay, well, I can just go ahead and pick up a PS5, you know, data transfer all my stuff onto it, and then just sell off the PS4 to like recoup some of the costs, and then I'll be ready for like future generations of games.
That makes sense. I think, like, as someone that also, I pre-ordered the Switch, right? So like, I can definitely speak from experience as far as like getting a console day one. I do think it's a different boat for the PS5 compared to the Switch, just based off of the fact that I also play PC, and a lot of those are coming out, and I also own a PS4, right? So I think it's a coin toss for PS5. I think you can't go wrong pre-ordering it, but you also like are not really in any position that's advantageous to pre-order it. And I know it kind of sounds confusing. It's
the
like
PS5 or
the PS5, like, you could definitely wait on it until like, I'd say even like 8 months from now, and still be in almost the exact same spot, like as far as like, okay, there would only be like a select number of games coming out. I think the thing is that the PS5 is coming out still with those whole PS4 games where like they'll come on both platforms, so you could always just save up. But the thing is, it's gonna follow the trend. Like, the same thing happened with the Switch, where people were like, okay, I'm gonna wait till it goes on sale and then buy it, but there was no sale for it. There's not gonna be a sale for the PS5 within the year, and I'm positive of that.
Oh,
so
yeah, definitely.
People that think that way are just like basically just wasting time.
I mean, like, they're going to be waiting, but it's not like they're also out of luck in terms of like the content that's coming out, because as you said, a lot of it's being like dual supported on the previous platform and the new platform. Take Miles Morales, like the one that I just mentioned, is out on PS4 as well.
Yeah, and I guess it comes down to, at that point, like, how much do you value like next gen graphics and like speeds? That's about it, really.
I will say, for the record though, and this is where I'm going to use like Miles Morales as another comparison, the power that this thing sports is insane. First of all, I think this is the first game I've ever played at native 4K, and geez, the graphics shows. Like I've never been like much like leading to like visual graphics. Like a game has to be fun for me. Like, visuals can be okay, and I can live with that. But like, I feel the need to make it a point that Miles Morales is visually stunning, and the speeds the game loads at are insane. So the game takes place in Manhattan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have this like super big expansive map, and I remember in Spider-Man PS4, like one of the very, very few times they decided to fast travel, it would cut to Spider-Man sitting on a subway, you know, and it'd be like 20 to 30 second load time, which is understandable. The map is massive. Miles Morales, you know, when I was doing the tutorial to fast travel, I hit the fast travel button, and I kid you not, it was literally 3 seconds.
That's crazy.
Jeez.
It was absurd.
You know, and it's crazy to me in a way because like consoles have gotten so like advanced in terms of like load speeds, resolution, stuff like that. And now I think it's just like a test of, are those people like, would you say the majority of PS5 owners have a 4K TV? Because that's what it comes to. Like, I personally don't own a 4K TV, at least in my apartment. So it's like, do you think that there would be any advantage of going to a PS5 if you're not on a higher res TV other than load times? Because it'll look the same as a PS4, right?
Well, see, the way that I put it is that's based on like a couple of factors, right? Like are you a really big fan of like Sony's products? Are you very much like, I want to play, let's say, like Godfall. Godfall is a next generation game that's only on the next generation. Or do you have like some sort of must buy that like justifies it? And,
That makes sense.
and you know, like the graphical fidelity isn't just like shown by having a higher resolution. Like the games, like I'm pretty sure I could put that on a 1080 TV and still have it look fantastic.
No, it'll definitely look fantastic. I think it's the same thing as like if you take into consideration the Xboxes that came out, right? Like, should anyone get the Xbox Series X if they can just get the other one that was cheaper that still runs at 1440p if you're not running a 4K TV? You know what I mean?
I think yeah, I see what you mean. I think it definitely helps to have like the stuff that really like makes the next generation pop. Not to mention, like, as tech moves on, 4K has gotten far cheaper than a few years ago. So
Yeah, I'm about to have to buy a 1440p monitor or something, you know?
yeah, again, it's totally within the realm of feasibility. And I think one more thing that you have to consider is like, for me, like I'm only like very slightly in the PlayStation ecosystem, you know. The only reason I had a PS3 and a PS4 and I never sold my PS3 is because the PS4 was never backwards compatible. So if you're like just entering like the PlayStation ecosystem, like I know Hitarth said, like if you were to bother jumping into PlayStation at all, it would be straight via a PS5, which is a smart thing to do because, you know, it plays everything like last gen on it too.
Yeah.
So I'd say it really just falls down to like, if I had to give my honest opinion, like money wise, if you have a PS4 and you have games for the PS4 and those games are still coming out for the PS4, you're in no rush to upgrade. Not to mention it's going to be extremely hard to find any stock. Like this is pretty common with any new console release. People will buy it and scalp it for like way higher.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. I think surprising, and I mean this has always been the trend, but like I don't know if you guys have seen like the prices on like TVs recently, but it is crazy low.
Oh yeah,
like astronomically low for like, you can get like a 4K 50-inch for like $300.
that's crazy, really?
Yeah. You can get a 4K 70-inch for $400.
Oh,
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, granted, displays have different like attributes to them, whether it's like I mean, they have different names, UHD, stuff like that. But in general, the fact that you can even get a 4K TV for that cheap is kind of nuts. So I think that's kind of just like, with consoles going to 4K and with phones going to 5G, they're basically projecting that here in a couple years, that's just going to be the trend of everyone's going to be getting 4K TVs all of the lines are going to switch to 5G. It's just kind of what they're assuming.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Again, like everything's just gonna be speeding up more and more. Although, talking about the Xbox really quickly for a second. I mean, the Xbox Series X, it has been like their most successful launch. Like Xbox has already announced, like, you know, this is the most console units that we've shipped in any of our releases. You know, which good for them. And one thing I would love to know about people who decided to pick up the next generation for Xbox, because, you know, I'm not one of them, nor do I have any stake in the Xbox ecosystem, is what was the justification for your purchase? Because I picked up the next generation stuff for PlayStation because there were games that I wanted to play on the next generation. Like, for me, it was mainly 3 games, being the Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, a game called The Pathless, and then Miles Morales.
So are all of those out?
Yeah, all 3 of those are out, actually. Devil May Cry was set to be released whenever the new consoles were released. I think The Pathless came out the same day as the PS5, and then Miles Morales was a launch title.
I also forgot Valhalla came out, and Cold War.
Oh yeah, hasn't Eli been playing Valhalla just like way too much?
He put, I think, like 11 hours within the first day, which is crazy.
Yeah, I don't understand.
But yeah, I guess that makes sense. There's a lot of bigger games, regardless if they just came out or not. Like, Valhalla came out a little bit ago, and that's on there. Cold War just came out yesterday, I'm pretty sure, so that came out with the release of the console, for Black Ops, that is. And then, like you said, Pathless, one that came out a while ago, Watch Dogs Legion, but I'm interested to see how a game like that looks on the PS5, honestly.
Yeah, seeing London in the next generation. Oh, and then there's Godfall also came out.
Oh, it did come out yesterday?
Yeah, it came out yesterday along with it.
That game looks beautiful.
I feel like, I will say the game looks pretty, but I feel like it's one of those things where there's so much just like visual things happening that I'm like, whatever like small footage of it I've seen, I feel like I'm lost.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like everything's like so glossy and so pretty, and I'm just like, my eyes!
There's a game called Maneater that actually came out a while ago.
Is that the shark game?
Yeah, but I feel like it could be kind of cool, like just visually on the PS5. Just because of like water and like reflections and shadows. I feel like that's what it really does well. Like obviously it has really good power behind it, so it's able to support all of those realistic shadows and effects within the world with like ray tracing, similar to what boasted on the graphics cards. So I guess a question for you guys is, now that those type of consoles come out, do you think that companies like Nvidia, AMD, are they gonna have to keep up this competitive pricing that they have just this recent addition of their graphics cards to keep up with the
like
demand?
The 30 series has been like far cheaper and way more like powerful compared to like,
yeah,
previous generations, right?
do you think that they're gonna have to keep being competitive, and even more competitive for that matter, going into future generations of graphics cards, to keep the PC gamers from switching over to console exclusively?
What are your thoughts on that? I want to hear your thoughts first.
I don't really think so. Honestly, I think it's more of like PC stuff has kind of always just, it's like up and down. Like I'd say it costs more, but it doesn't really. It depends like what you're getting.
It definitely costs more.
It does cost more, but you can also spend more or less depending on what you want. That's what I think the main like flex that PC has, is that it's so flexible that you could get a nice PC and have it running anything you want to for like $600, versus you could build like an $1,800 PC and it's like really fancy, does everything you want it to, has like all these lights and everything. But so like it doesn't really, like graphic card prices going up is just something that like if it's gonna happen. Like people are
it's
gonna
going
need.
down. That's
Well,
the
I mean,
thing.
yeah, the 3090 series is going down currently, right? Are they less than the 20
The
series?
30
or
series
no?
is much cheaper than the 20. Come on, Hitarth, we talked about this.
Okay.
Come on.
Alright, so
No,
my perspective on
the 30 is cheaper.
So then that's crazy, honestly. That's just gonna
Okay.
make it more likely people are gonna keep staying with PCs.
Yeah, so my perspective on this is usually like console and PC have more or less always been in their own market. You know, like a console is specifically for playing games, and you know, you can make a powerful PC, but it's not relegated to just playing games.
Yeah.
So you know, you can build it however you want, and if you are building it for the sake of, you know, playing games, a lot of the times games that are released on PC come with a wide variety of graphical options to like support more or less like every single, like if you have a super high-end PC, you can run it with like all the bells and whistles. If you have a super low-end PC, they'll at least go the extra mile to make sure that it can run.
Yeah.
Like you can still play those games and enjoy those games.
You know, this sounds really weird and maybe like not true, but I think the only reason why PC gaming is as big as it is, like this exact day, is because of Riot Games. Because I actually think that if League wasn't on like computers and now Valorant, that there would definitely be a lot more people that would be like on the edge more towards console gaming because of the value. Because like think about it, right? Like Audie said, a PC does a lot more than just gaming. So if you already need a computer or you're looking for something that can be versatile, you typically go the PC route. But if you think about parents wanting to get games for their kids, right? A $300 Xbox seems pretty appetizing that can do everything and run games at 1440p and all of the next gen consoles compared to, you cannot get a PC that's even comparable to the performance of that $300 Xbox within, I'd say, even double the price.
Yeah, no, you'd have
And
to
that's
spend a
just
decent
facts.
amount just to get something that has the same amount of power as that.
Like that PS5 is probably like the performance of like an $1,000 PC, but that's just because it is exclusively made for gaming and optimized for it. So that's just how it's gonna be.
Yeah, to put it the same way that Zero Punctuation's Yachi Croshaw did, he said...
Wait, who, what, where now?
Okay, so...
don't worry
yeah.
about it.
So, Yachi Croshaw is the dude who's been reviewing games for like years, and he does them in like fast-paced, funny, like comedy skit sort of way.
Gotcha.
He said like the advantage that the Nintendo Switch had over like the previous generations of console, and who knows if this will extend into this one, is that the Nintendo Switch never tried to be a direct contender to the PC. It was always off doing its own things with its own like unique gimmicks and like tool sets that it had, right? While if you're trying to be a games console like the Xbox was or like the PS4 was, that's trying to compete with PC, it's really hard to, because so many of the things for PC are already just built in. Like you could like launch your game, play a game, close it, and then file your tax return, is what he said.
Yeah, exactly. Like I get what you were saying, Hitarth, where it's not the direct competitor, but in a way it is. Like Nintendo, that's why they're in their own realm, and they can release a game every 12 years, and it doesn't matter because they know that they're in their own ecosystem.
Okay, well that's a little too much.
I wanna amend your statement to say it's only direct competition if they make it a direct competition. Right?
I agree, but
because, like,
Xbox always makes it a direct competition.
Yeah,
Well,
and they seem they seem to be going more towards like the half and half approach, where they're going on like the Xbox Game Pass, like, and a lot of stuff is coming out on there, so they're like also trying to encroach onto the PC market that way.
Yeah,
Well,
they've
that's
been
the thing, right?
boasting that a lot. No. I've just been saying that.
Yeah.
They've been really like selling out that Game Pass. Like that's the biggest thing you'll hear about Xbox right now, other than this new console release.
Well, yeah, and that's how Xbox is kind of melding into PC. But then that makes it so that Sony also has to be competing with PC gaming, because if they have no foot in the door in that realm of people to like at least make money off of PC gamers, then they have to have a product that is enticing enough for PC gamers to not switch necessarily, but at least decide to pick it up.
Expand on that.
Exactly. And so I do think that they've done a good job, because at least I'd say, I mean, this could just be a random number, but like 75% of PC gamers that are picking up consoles, the next gen, are probably picking up a PS4 or PS5 rather.
PS4
over Xbox. It's just a given. It has so much more, and PC has almost everything that an Xbox has. So like, what is even the point in going an Xbox route?
Yeah, exactly. Again, it's all the games. It still comes back to like, what games can you play on the thing, and what do you want to play? Like, I picked up a PS5 because I want to play Bug Snacks. You know, like.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Your favorite game?
I'd be very interested to see Sony dive into PC gaming in some regard, but
I wonder if they
don't
will.
know if they will.
Like, that's the thing. Do you really think they will at this point?
I don't think they need to.
I don't think.
I think
will,
Xbox
personally.
did, because all of Xbox games are trash.
Okay,
not all, but they don't have many good exclusives.
Many Xbox fans are very happy with Hector's review right here.
But like the
I'm just sitting
PS4
back.
and all those stuff, like the closest thing that like Sony has to having PC, like I'd say share in, is just games getting released on Steam, like all the PlayStation titles.
No, but like not even like disregarding Xbox Game Pass, like the games that Xbox come out with on their Game Pass aren't even that good comparatively to PS5 exclusives. Like, it's just a given.
Okay, hang on. When you say that, you're gonna need to clarify that a little bit.
Okay,
Are you talking about the first-party Xbox titles or all games on the Game Pass?
No. First party. So, like, for instance, Ori and the Blind Forest came out on Steam, right?
Yeah.
It came out on Steam before it was even on Game Pass, I'm pretty sure.
Not
Before Game Pass was even a thing, I'm pretty positive.
Yeah.
Or it was like very. It was
wait,
like
did you say Ori and the Blind Forest or Will of the Wisp?
No, the Blind Forest.
Oh yeah, Blind Forest was definitely out before the Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, exactly. So like games like that are like fantastic and like are pretty well known as a Game Pass game now is, in my opinion, like the only thing that I would value a Game Pass for. But like, you think? I mean, yes, this is just my opinion, so whatever I'm saying here is obviously just my opinion. But
You take it with
like,
a grain of salt, kind of.
games like Halo and God of War, or not God of War, sorry, Gears of War, are probably the only two other games that I could say on Xbox that is worth anything.
Like within their like first person for like selling power and all that. Like I'm sure they have like their own other like niches, but they don't have like the brand recognition or the power that like Gears of War or Halo do.
And I don't know. I mean, personally, I think Halo's kind of dying, even after them trying to like, quote unquote, revive it on the PC. But
What was the most recent thing Halo did?
I mean,
Halo
it was
5.
the PC. Yeah, the PC game.
Halo 5, and then the Master Chief Collection made its way to Steam.
I remember the Master Chief Collection. I just didn't know if they had like a main title they released recently. I mean, this was 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then the next title, that's Halo Infinite, is slated to come out next year. And I feel like that's really, really gotta hurt Microsoft because, like, again, even though you're not a fan of the Halo series, it obviously has like a massive amount of fans, and it would be that blockbuster title that they could have used to, like really like punch into some of the Xbox Series X.
That's what I'm saying. What does the Xbox Series X have? Like,
They're
what
gonna
justifies the purchase of buying the new Xbox over the PS4?
Well, you said PS4 again.
Oh my god, dude.
Come on, Hector.
Listen,
Stop living in the past.
PS5 is so weird.
How are you getting the Xbox title right? Well, I guess you're just saying Xbox instead of the whole thing, aren't you?
I don't. It's Xbox Series X. What is the other one? The Xbox Series S?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I keep thinking it's the previous gen is the S. What was the Xbox One X? It was One X.
It was One. I already forgot the name of the previous.
Yeah,
I literally looked it up earlier. I was like, what was it?
We've said it before. Xbox has some Apple naming convention out here.
Anyways, Todd, I think you were saying something.
It was weird. Oh, I was like more talking about the Halo thing. What is it? For the Master Chief Collection, the enhanced version of that will be released on the Xbox Series X and S sometime November 2020.
See, I don't know if that's good enough, but yeah, the Master Chief Collection itself has been around for so long.
That's what I'm saying. It's like releasing Spider-Man PS4 remastered, but not Miles Morales. It's like great. The game's already been out.
Like, I feel like a new console really should have at least like one like super like punchy title to like get people invested. Like for the 3DS, they had Ocarina of Time, or it was Star Fox 64. Ocarina of Time came very, very close after. What is it? I don't remember what the PS4 had. I'm pretty sure the PS4 did have something.
I mean, like,
PS4.
If I'm not mistaken, they're using games that are like cross-platform anyways. They're like, and we're launching with Valhalla, and it's like, okay.
Oh, thank God. It had Angry Birds Star Wars.
I'm trying to find a list of games that are like exclusive to Xbox that are new that are coming out, and I don't think there's any.
I mean, State of Decay. State of Decay. I think there was one more that I can't remember. It was like the fourth entry.
Just Dance 2021.
Yeah, that'll probably be coming out on the Wii. I wouldn't be surprised. Fable. I was thinking of Fable.
Fable, I could see. Fable is not out though, is it?
No, it's not. They literally just announced that we don't have a trailer.
Okay, yeah. So Xbox is. Listen, this is a hot take, but I think Xbox is kind of hot garbage.
Okay, so I see what they were going to do. They were supposed to launch the new console alongside a new Halo game, but Halo Infinite got delayed. So I'm so confused.
Sad. That's so sad.
You know what else I feel like really makes it so Xbox is kind of kneecapping their own sales? Is that they announced pretty early on with the announcement of Halo Infinite that all the stuff will be available on PC with the Xbox Game Pass. Like, and not to mention the multiplayer is totally free.
See, the thing that I find the Xbox good for is not the PC demographic. It's not the people that are thinking between Xbox and PlayStation. It's for the people that are trying to get into gaming but don't want to spend a lot. Or people that are just Xbox diehard fans, right? Because, like I said, PS5 isn't offering that cheap alternative like Xbox is. And I use cheap loosely, but $300 for 1440p gaming
for the next generation of gaming is a very good entry price.
Really?
Yeah.
So coming in at that price, that's competing with the Switch, and that was what the Switch's whole thing was: super cheap gaming with next generation Nintendo games. Now it's
air quotes
super cheap gaming for the next gen anything. So if you're trying to play Valhalla, a huge title that takes a lot of computing power, and you can get it for $300, that's kind of a no-brainer for people that are just trying to play games casually after work or get it for their kids.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was the point I was going to get into if you didn't. But like, that's a lot of like Xbox like appeal. It's the same type of people who like see a new, like, let's say NBA, right? Because not a lot changes between like year to year NBA. But for the person who just buys games like maybe once, twice a year, they're just like, oh, okay, the new Call of Duty's out. I'll pick up the new NBA alongside and call it a day.
Yeah, it's like, it's a more casual game. Like Call of Duty, like you said, NBA, those two have like the most percentage of the highest percentage of like casual gamers. And I use casual in, like, in the sense of people that don't really play much besides that.
Actually, if I may take a moment, I want to ask, Hitarth, because you mentioned you're willing, or not willing, like looking into getting a PS5. I can't believe I didn't think of this earlier. You're looking into a PS5. So when you look at it, what exactly is it? Just like, okay, I want this console. Like, what draws you to it?
Well, I do want to say something funny that I was going to look at and mention now as well is I'm glad I can look at the prices and pick up a PlayStation, a PS5 for $900. Right? That sounds about right.
Well, how else are you supposed to play Rogue Company at 4K?
Exactly. I think the main thing, at least for me, is that like I wanted a PS4 for the longest time, but there's a PS5 now, so there's no point looking at the PS4 when the 5's already there, and it's honestly not that much more.
I think Hitarth was in a slim sliver of people because like the PS4 has been out for like what, like 8 years now or something. Like,
yeah, it's been out for a while.
Like a crazy number, and he still hasn't got the console. Not like bashing on him, but it's like he's just been putting it off because I feel like you had the PC. Do you think you would have got the PS4 if you didn't get PC gaming?
I would say that's not really the reason. Like I have a Switch and everything, Hector. Like having a PC is not going to deter me from getting console games, especially for a PS4, because that has games you're not going to see on PC.
So
yeah,
I guess
we were talking about earlier.
What's the reason you didn't get the PS4?
Money. That's literally the main reason. I just didn't have the money spare just to get one.
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, by the time you had started actively like considering getting a PS4, that was when they started dropping stuff about the PS5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about it already happened, and so I was like, well, I mean, at this point, it might as well wait till this comes out, get a few games for this, and call it there.
Yeah, so what games in particular are you? Because like you just happen to be like the perfect example that encompasses the things that we're talking about. So, so like what sort of games are you eyeing?
Because like there wasn't too many. I think mainly for PS5. I'd say Spider-Man, but I could always either play that with you or not. But that was one I was really tempted just to pick up on my own, just so I could play it whenever. I know when it comes to like PS4 wise or the PS5, because backwards compatibility and all that, one of the few I was going to pick up was Project Diva. Just I like rhythm games, you know?
That's understandable. Didn't Project Diva, as far as I'm aware, come out on the Switch as well, though?
You're right. That did come out on Switch, I think. There was like a...
There was like a compilation one, I think, because my sister Prachi, she went and picked that up, and she played it for so long.
Yeah, Project Diva Mega Mix came out on Nintendo Switch. Way earlier this year, in February.
So, okay, let's say, like, because you mentioned, like, playing games with me, like, imagine I was not there, like, I'm not a part of this equation, like, you don't have access to any other PlayStation titles. In that case, what would you be, like, looking to pick up?
I'd have to re-look again, because I've honestly, at this point, forgotten. The only one I really looked at was Spider-Man at the time being.
I mean, Persona,
I mean, that and Project, yeah, if you weren't thinking, then I would have picked up, like, a Persona game as well, for sure.
If you weren't a thing.
I am an object solely made to be used for my PS5.
Exactly. No, I'd probably do that, and I'd probably pick up either like a Final Fantasy game. Not Final Fantasy. That is what I was talking about, because we played a demo for one of them, and then that interested me. I don't remember whatever that latest one was.
Oh, the Final Fantasy VII remake, and I think you played through the entire thing, and I actually didn't. Like I think we like swapped off for it.
Did we? I think that was the other way around. I didn't touch it.
Yeah, you did. What do you mean?
No, you played through the entire demo. You're just out of your mind.
It's funny you mentioned that just because there was like a really good sale going on for that. So I actually do own that game now.
What game?
Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking to me about that. It
was like a $60 game that ended up being like $25, so I went and picked it up, and it still hasn't gone back that low again.
That's another thing. I think you think about like sales of games and the frequency of it. It's kind of been, I'd say, like a trend. Like it's been almost the same now between PC and console. It used to be that PC games would go on sale so much more frequently than console, but now you see games coming out and like post-release them just getting like super cheap on console. And
Actually,
I don't know why.
Actually, that brings up a good question in my mind that I want to ask you too. Is with the onset of this next generation, and let me tell you now that $70 titles are here, it hurts my wallet. I am in pain. But do you think with the release of these next generations that PC titles will stay the same, like things that are coming out on both PC and console? Do you think like console will have the higher price and PC will still stay 60, or do you think PC will also eventually catch up?
I think it will catch up.
I think it definitely will catch up, but I think the still benefit for PC is that people are going to be selling these games like on like off sites and all that still.
Oh, like key selling websites?
Yeah, because like if any of them make it to Steam, there's a key for it somewhere on the site that costs less.
Yeah, but not to the point where it would be even comparable to what it is now. I think it depends on the game, because you can see like on key reselling sites, right? Like some games that just come out are like 45 for some reason, but then others are like 59. So it's like, okay, is it really worth a $1 like discount? I'd rather just buy it on Steam, you know? It depends on the game. It depends on like the company that made it. And I think that goes the same for which games start at the higher price. I think for games that come out that are both platforms, like here in the coming future, I do think that they're gonna just release at 70 on Steam. Because if you think about it, why would they not? Right?
I think they raise prices to recoup development costs way easier, because games now cost so much more to produce.
Yeah, and there's like almost no reason to not just make it the same price, because okay, people will complain about it, blah, 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 but can they get it cheaper anywhere else? No. So what are they going to do about it? They're going to buy it regardless. It's just a way of life. There's no way around it. They're going to increase the price on PC as well, just like they did on console. People will throw a fit about it, but there's nothing that they're going to do. And people could argue about, $70 games on the PS4, but those are the same people that pre-ordered the PS5 and bought like 3 games at launch. So like, I don't know. That's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, at this point, I can't tell whether Hector means to say PS4 or PS5.
I'm not. I'm trying to say PS5, dude.
I was like, $70 on the PS4? Oh, man.
I mean, lucky for you, a lot of the stuff that's going out of the PS5 is like cross-referential with the PS4.
Yeah, I need to get it in my head. PS5. Okay, we're good.
All right, PS4.
All right.
PS4.
All right, so talking about the PS4 though, but you were saying how most of these games are like cross, whatever. I can't talk. They're basically multi-platform. Yeah, cross-generational. That's the better word for it. So like, when do you think they're gonna suck? Like, because right now it makes the most sense because people still have PS4s. It's still like one of the most popular consoles that Sony has. A lot of people aren't getting the PS5 still because there's not as big of a need to yet. So when do you think they'll actually full push PS5 games that won't be PS4?
I'd say maximum, and this is being probably a little generous, like a year.
I would say max by summer, actually.
Yeah, that's what I was being like a little like generous.
Yeah, that is generous. I think realistically, I mean, and this could be also very extreme on the opposite spectrum, but I think that I could even see them only releasing these games that got announced previously on the PS4 as well.
Like the ones that are out that are across the bottom. I mean, I think you're right, honestly, because I'm looking at like a list of PlayStation games that are like that have come out or have yet to come out, and you have stuff like Sackboy Big Adventure that was a launch title. You have Horizon Forbidden West, Bugsnax, the greatest game ever made.
Yes, sir.
Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which is the next Ratchet and Clank game. You have the next Gran Turismo. You have Resident Evil Village.
And like, I doubt like Resident Evil Village, for instance, or the new Ratchet and Clank are coming out on the PS4. Unless they've been said that they have.
Actually, maybe for Ratchet and Clank. Let me go double check that.
It depends on when they started developing it, because if they developed it solely in mind for the PS5, then they're only going to release it for that. But if they had
majority of the games, unless it's been in development for a really long time now, already, like, if they started development within the last year, it's only for PS5, almost guaranteed, unless they purposely wanted it to be on PS4.
Quick update. Yeah, it is PS5 only.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I like I said, I would be willing to bet that almost by the end of winter, any game releases that weren't announced to be released with a date previously are gonna be PS5 only.
Yeah,
I was gonna say one of the next one is Kena Bridge of Spirits, but that's also coming out on PS4, and that's coming out next March.
Yeah. So like games can come out like all the way up to summer, I'd say, for games that have already been announced. But almost every game that's gonna get announced from here on out is only next gen. I don't understand why they would go to PS4, and I guarantee, and I could be wrong, but for PlayStation's own agenda, they're most likely telling them that they should design it solely for PS5 if they're going to be releasing a game that big, because they have a say in like what games they want to come out.
That's true, yeah.
So like, why would Sony be like, yeah, just make it on the PS4 as well? It's like they're trying to push the PS5. It only makes sense. But I do have a deal of the week for you guys. It's I know we've been talking about consoles, but this one's gonna be for PC gamers. Actually, it's a Logitech G203 Light-sync wired mouse. For those of you that don't know mice that well, it's a pretty decent cheaper end mouse, but at a ridiculously cheap price of $15, which for an RGB Logitech mouse is a fantastic price. So if you are looking to pick that up, you can probably snatch one up at Best Buy right now. That's where they have them. They have them in a wide variety of colors, but the black one being the only one that is that $15. So go ahead, pick it up if you're interested in new peripherals, or you can go back to our last show where we talked about the SteelSeries bundle. I believe they still have that at that $130 price tag if you're trying to get a full peripheral set.
Hey Hector, I have to stop you there really fast, because as a good friend, I need to publicly tell everybody that you won a $5,000 tournament!
We did. Hitarth and
I want to talk about that really fast.
Go.
Got a little bit of time.
Actually, you two can talk about the details about how it's like run through esports and all that. I'll let you guys.
Yeah, I'll give a quick rundown as we're kind of closing up the show. But essentially, I work at Esports. I'm the content coordinator over there, and my head director Greg was kind of reaching out to the Esports team, asking anyone if they would be interested in playing in this Fall Guys tournament that was hosted by UMG. So I was like, yeah, I'd do it. I threw Hitarth on the roster because we needed one more, and we ended up competing in UMG's tournament for $5,000 in scholarship money, split between 4 people. And so it was a pretty fun event. It was about, I'd say, 3 hours or so of competition. We went through first seed in the qualifiers, then we went to semifinals, then finals. We took the whole thing home, which was fantastic. So I can successfully and firmly say that we are the best college Fall Guys team NA. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Statistically.
Yeah.
Maybe not in actuality. But no, just period.
Yeah, it's overall. Come on.
Ever.
Of all time, you know.
3 years from now, we still are.
Listen, we're never going to live it down. We're always going to bring it back up. And you already know we're looking for that next tournament to come sweep as well.
You know what I'm looking forward to, though? New music, baby! Hit it, Hitarth.
Yes, sir! 3 new music. As always, you guys guessed it. Ding, ding, right on the money. We've got... I was scrolled too far up. We've got...
We've got Fall Guys Tournament, 5,000.
Yeah, that's our new music. We've got Birthday Leather by Secret Sun from their album Winter Love. Their music is indie electronic, and their song has a lot of dreamy vibes to it. a good afternoon song, so I hope you guys enjoy that in this fine morning. And then we've got Baby Got Work and What It Feels Like by Potato Head People from their album Mellow Fantasy. They're hip-hop songs, their beats are mellow, their raps are on point, and I already know you guys are going to enjoy them as much as I did.
Alright, sounds good. That's all the time we have this week. If you excuse me, I need to go and play more Miles Morales. There's still a pandemic going on. If you're going to go outside, stay safe, wear a mask, wash your hands, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.
Take it easy.
Take it easy.